Let's head to McCormick Place, the Hyatt Regency, and the first speaker at 2016 Big Ten Football Media Days, Northwestern's head coach Pat Fitzgerald, set to address the media.
This morning, obviously, the tragic news and the passing of Sam Foltz and Mike Sadler over the weekend. On behalf of Northwestern, our football program, all of our players, we'd like to express our thoughts and prayers to their families, Coach D'Antonio, Coach Riley, and the Spartan and Husker families on their tragic loss. We recruited Mike and know him well, and just sad, tragic news, and our thoughts and prayers are with them. And then obviously at Northwestern, the passing of Coach Green and the trailblazer, the first African-American football coach in our program's history, in the Big Ten's history. Unbelievable track record in the National Football League, and so it's to start off with a heavy heart and great sadness, and we lift their families up in our thoughts and our prayers. And as I look, changing gears to football and rewinding back to 2015 with our squad, an exciting year for us. To get to double-digit wins again, 2 out of the last 4 years, to be able to do that was exciting on the field. Obviously, some unfinished business in 3 of our contests, but still very, very pleased and very proud of the accomplishments that our young men had a year ago. And then to go through the season the way that we did and then go out of it and have the academic success, it was our best academic year. We had a team GPA of a 3.15 for the calendar year. So to have one of our most, if not our most successful seasons on the field and to piggyback that academically is outstanding, and I'm very proud of our young men. As I look forward to 2016, this may be the strongest football team that we've had. I just got an updated text message from our strength coach. I think Justin and Matthew set 2 PRs last night, so we're at over 400 personal records in the weight room throughout the course of the summer. Our guys have been doing a terrific job working with Jay Hooten, our strength coach, to improve an area that we feel we really need to get better at. In our 3 losses a year ago, we got dominated at the line of scrimmage, and we've got to improve our strength up front to take the next steps to where we want to go, to put ourselves in position to compete, to be in Indianapolis, and to be in that type of conversation. So we've got a lot of work to do as we get things going here on August 7th. But like every coach that's been before me at the other kickoff luncheons and media days, excited for things to start up. Excited, and want to welcome Chris and DJ and Tracy to the Big Ten head coaches fraternity, to Rutgers, Maryland, and Minnesota, respectively. So with that, how about some questions, please?
If you have a question, please raise your hand. We'll get a mic over to you. We have all the way, Alexis, on your right, all the way in the corner.
Hey, Coach, Jason Jorgensen from the Rural Radio Network. You were so good last year in close games. As a coach, how do you cultivate that trait again going into the next year so that you can be so solid in those games that came down to the fourth quarter?
Yeah, I think 5 of those 5 wins in single digit games, and 3 of those were on the road. It was really the hallmark to our success a year ago. Yeah, I think it's in the way that we prepare. We try to put our guys in adverse situations during practice throughout. This is going to be year 17 on staff, 11th as the head coach. We've been in a lot of close games. I can't tell you why, and our guys are confident in that situation. I think it really goes back to the way that we prepare and the way that we practice. Try to make it as game-like as we possibly can. And hopefully we can draw upon that success last year to have it again be, one of our staples this year. I would prefer, trust me, not to be in those kind of games, but it just doesn't seem to be the way that we play our style of games.
All right, Coach, we'll come down right front.
Hey, Fitz. Anthony Walker, they're a big push by your marketing department in terms of superhero type stuff. How do you feel about that push, and what does he need to do to get better?
Yeah, Teddy, I think it's kind of cool. I'm sure the Tribune's done something, put a bobblehead together for you, right? Yeah, right, absolutely. We've done it in the past with Danny, and it's, first of all, I think it's great for Anthony. He's earned that, to be a returning All-American, same way that Danny was, back a few years ago. I think it shows our commitment as a university to think outside the box. First of all, the only way we can do it is if the young person's humble enough to understand what we're trying to do, and both Dan and now Anthony, Anthony really didn't want to do it, but said, yeah, let's have some fun with it. And the tag, the franchise, was given to him by his teammates. And so I think that's something that's really neat. His teammates are having a blast with it. I mean, they're totally making fun of him, which if you can't laugh at yourself and have fun with things like that, that's what college football is all about. So, having some fun, enjoying it with a great player, and hopefully he can live up to the hype. But, he's a special player. He's got a lot to improve on, but, he's a sideline-to-sideline physical player that can play great in the run game and pass game, and, had, 20-plus tackles for loss a year ago. Very talented player.
Coach, on our right here in the middle of the room.
Paul Banks, thesportsbank.net and Red Eye. Last year's team had some similarities to one of the opponents in your days, that they had a very strong central back kind of carrying the load. If you remember Robert Holcomb in the Illini, 95. Now, do you see Holcomb and Justin Jackson, or are there any other backs that you played against in the Big Ten that Jackson kind of reminds you of, like a throwback to those days of the black and blue division of the Big Ten? Yeah,
Paul, when I look at JJ, he reminds me a lot, different styles a little bit, but just in my time in Northwestern, some of our backs, similar to Tyrell Sutton with his vision, Noah Herron, how Noah was a big back, but really didn't seem like he ever got really truly hit that hard, always was able to slip tackles. And then maybe Jason Wright with his ability to catch the ball out of the backfield. So maybe a combination of all three of those guys is kind of what I see in JJ. A very talented player from a standpoint of being able to do everything. He's just not a first down back or a third down back. He's a complete back. He still has room for improvement in his game. But a young man that we've got to have more balance offensively to get people out of the box. I think most games we saw, 8, 9 guys in the box, and we've got to be able to throw it more efficiently to be able to loosen people up, to respect our passing game, to be, quite frankly, more explosive offensively this year.
We'll come back down in front here again, Coach.
Coach, obviously you have a really tough October stretch here, and Northwestern being on the quarter system, your guys don't start school until the end of September. How are you prepared to deal with that, considering that 5 or 6 game stretch there?
Yeah, if you look at throughout my time, it's been a month. It's been a challenge for us. It's typically very good opponents. We do start school, but that's an excuse. And so what do? We heighten our guys' awareness of the challenge that will be ahead in training camp. And then we kind of close that drawer, and we'll come back to it when we get to October and turn our focus back into ourselves and then getting ready for the opener. But there's no question, if we want to be in position to have our name talked about in November to compete for this trophy to my right, we've got to be more consistent in October. And I think you get there by, number one, being a little bit lucky and staying healthy. Obviously on our end as coaches, putting a plan together to win challenging football games. And, our October schedule this year, it's going to be daunting. And then go out and execute in the moment and find a way to win. So I think there's a lot of working parts when it comes to that. But there's no question it'll be something I'll talk about during training camp.
Next question, Coach, will be on our left in the middle of the room.
Charlie Clark, Wildcat Digest. Fitz, in the 3 games that you guys lost last year, they were not really that close. How do you limit the damage this year when you're playing these tough teams? Yeah, thanks, Charlie, for the reminder. Kind of wiped that out of my memory bank. Well, all 3 games were unique. The Michigan game, obviously getting off to the slow start on the road, I thought they played outstanding. When you get on the bus and you pop the tape on, that's the first thing you do as a coach. And you pop on the tape and you go, we should have done A, B, and C, but why do they do it well? And you tip your hat and you move on and you get ready for the next week. And, I thought the way that we came back and responded in the first half against the Hawkeyes, we were playing well enough to be competitive in that game. And then, quite frankly, just did not do a good job playing team football. We turned the ball over. We couldn't move the ball offensively against a very good Iowa defense. And then we gave up more explosive run plays in that game than maybe any other game until we got to Tennessee. In the bowl game, we just could not get out of our own way, it seemed like, in all 3 phases. We didn't execute well. Obviously, that starts and ends with us as coaches. So, looking again as we get to the postseason next year, did we ask our guys to do too much? And I've had fun like you guys have, and probably most of you have been around the country covering the other media days. Tennessee's a pretty good team. And they played well against us, and so you tip your hat to them. But a lot to learn and grow from. And when you talk about motivation in the offseason, you don't have to look any further than those 3 games and a lot of specifics that we'll talk about internally in areas that we need to improve on in all 3 phases for us to win those games. And, again, 10 wins is a special year no matter where you're at, Northwestern or Alabama. It doesn't matter, anywhere in between.
But to get to 11 and to get to 12 and to get to the Big Ten championship game and to get in the playoff, you're in some pretty rare air there. It's a pretty high standard and the way that you need to play to win those games. And for us to take the next step as a program, we've got to do a better job collectively as a program to win those types of games.
On our right, down front, Coach.
Coach, defense was obviously very good last year, probably maybe the best part of the team, but you lost a little bit of production from graduating seniors, Deontay Gibson, Dean Lowry, Nick Van Hoos, Trey Van Henry, all gone. Right. How do you guys sort of deal with that turnover and make sure the defense is just as good as it was last year? Well,
recruiting. You hope you've recruited well, and a couple of years ago, you probably wouldn't have been asking me about those 4 names. So it's recruiting, player development, and, to see the career that those 4 young men had, incredibly proud of them. But Keith Watkins has played a lot of football for us at corner, and expect him to jump in there right away and fill that position that Nick graduates from. Same thing with Kyle Cairo at the safety position. And then up front, Xavier Washington and Afadi Odenigbo have had outstanding off seasons. I don't know if you saw Afadi's tweet the other day, right? You guys are on social media, so he's stronger than he's ever been. So those are 4 names, but then hopefully you've got 4 more to back those 2 guys up, and we feel pretty good about that group. So we've just got to continue to develop depth. We've got to continue to develop our young talent. A year ago, we were not afraid to play young guys, as you saw in our rotation, especially in the defensive line and also in the secondary, and that was to prepare for this year, knowing that we were going to graduate some very productive football players.
Same row, 2 spots back.
Coach, Bill Bender, Sporting News. You mentioned in the spring that Anthony had a chance to be the best linebacker at Northwestern, so I was wondering, when you're watching the tape, what stands out that will catch attention at the next level?
Bill, I think, first of all, is athleticism. When you watch from the opener in Stanford to Tennessee in the bowl game, 2 very explosive football teams with great talent offensively. And there was a non-issue when it came to athleticism, speed, not only playing in the box, but more importantly, playing out in space for Anthony. His ability, I think, to play in all aspects of the linebacker position, against the run, against the pass, and then rushing the passer from a standpoint of when we pressure him or when he's being aggressive and, maybe using the scheme to his advantage. You couple that with his leadership, his ability to be a servant leader. He's done a terrific job of taking younger players, the rest of the defense under his wing, showing them how to prepare in the film room, in the weight room, and then just how to carry yourself on a daily basis. I mean, he's a returning All-American. He's going to have a bullseye on his chest. He's going to see more people playing below his waist than maybe ever in his career. People are going to be playing to, cut block him and things of that nature to be able to slow him down. And he's got a lot of things he's got to improve on. That aspect will be something that we'll definitely have to work on in training camp. But, he's poised to have a special year, and he's poised to be one of the best that we've ever had. Exciting times for him and for us.
Coach, left side of the room, toward the back here.
Hey, Coach, Michael Dugan, Wildcat Digest. You guys don't have a lot of experience at the wide receiver position this upcoming year, so who do you expect to be the leader of that group? And who else will you look to outside of that leader to make the plays this year?
Yeah, Michael, I'd say right now definitely Austin Carr, our most experienced young man coming back. He and Andrew Scanlon have done a terrific job this summer. And at not only that position, but I would say across the board, what have I learned about our squad so far since Father's Day when our freshmen reported? Our upperclassmen, the brotherhood and the chemistry that we have right now might be the best that we've had in my 11 years as a head coach. We have a big brother program. Most people do that. It's not anything, I think, unique to Northwestern. But to see the way that our upperclassmen are taking our younger guys under their wing is what we're going to have to draw upon when we face adversity, which we will. I hope we don't face a lot, but in the game of football, in college football, you're going to. So AC and Scan have done a great job. And then as far as we moved Marcus McShepard over from corner, a young man that's played a lot of football for us, played receiver in high school, and I thought the 15 practices that he grew exponentially during spring ball, and practice 16 will be August 8th, so look forward to seeing where he's at. And then the same thing with Solomon Vaught, moving him from running back. I think we've all seen his dynamic playmaking ability as a kick returner, with Warren Long in the backfield along with Justin as our 2 experienced backs. We felt like moving Solo to the outside could definitely give us an opportunity to be more explosive. I was really impressed with Flynn Nagel until he got hurt last year. And, he's a guy that I expect that, we'll see production from out there pretty quickly from an experience standpoint. I know it was only a handful of games, but, definitely. And then I think we've got competitive depth. We're back to having competitive depth out there, which
you know, as a coach, that's what you want. If you're not getting the job done, you get to meet my friend, the motivator, called the bench. He's awesome. He's unbelievable. He's the best motivator in the world. And so to be able to play a lot of guys, you know, when you think back to when we were in the top whatever, you'd want to say offensively, when we had talent and we had competitive talent at the wide receiver room, and if you weren't getting it done, you were going to watch. And wow, that really changes the dynamic. And I think we're inching our way, but I think we're much further along today than we were at this time last year.
All right, thank you very much, Coach.
All right, great. Thanks for all that you do for college football. Have a great couple days. Go Cats.